Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and this is Movie Crap. This is my weekly movie news show where I talk about movie news, trailers, and articles that I would like to talk about. And, first up. So production has wrapped on the Han Solo movie, and when it wrapped, Ron Howard announced what the title would be, which is Solo. Which is not a good title. I really don't get what they're thinking. Like, why isn't it just called Han Solo? I think that's kind of what we all thought it was called, and then they were just like, no, it's just called Solo. And we're like, oh, that's crappy. This is like all the worst decisions of Lucasfilm. It is such a bad... Everything about this is terrible. Just Solo? Like, that is the worst title. I mean, it's literally like, all you gotta do is name it Han Solo, and you fuck that up. When you brought out Solo, it felt like Ron Howard should be narrating how Michael Bluth made a mistake or something, but it's Ron Howard. Like, can Ron Howard narrate himself? I don't think you can, probably. I think that wouldn't work. Like, I never go, like, when you hear a title for something, you're usually like, yeah, that's fine, or you reject it a little bit, but this is, like, next level awful. Like, Solo? Like, just name it Han Solo, and we've been like, okay, it's the Han Solo movie, whatever. You had to give it a dumb title, like... This Han Solo movie cannot help sucking. It is like on a determined course to be the worst thing in film history or something. But, you know, I guess if it is trying to do that, it's been very successful. So Loud House creator Chris Savino has been suspended by Nickelodeon Studios because of his numerous sexual harassment claims that go back actually pretty far from before he created Loud House, from several years ago. This seems to be a constant thing. Like, almost every couple days we have someone else who's being accused of sexual harassment or sexual assault. I'm more annoyed that these people have sexually harassed and sexually assaulted them than that these charges are coming out. I'm just like, okay, just like another person is a horrible human being. Okay, cool. I mean, I sort of already knew most people were horrible human beings, but this is just like reaffirming the terrible world we live in and how hard it is to be a woman in any industry. But it's great to know that even when you work at Loud House, that is still true. I'm not the hugest Loud House fan, but I find this just to be sickening. I don't think it's gonna make me want to check out Loud House, but I think this was the biggest trailer for me personally, which was the New Mutants trailer. I knew this was going to be New Mutants in a horror movie vein. That seems to be the superhero thing, is taking on a different genre and putting superheroes in it. That's something Marvel Studios has done, that's something Logan did, and so forth. Doing a New Mutants horror movie, I think, is really interesting. It particularly is influenced by my favorite run of New Mutants and some of my favorite comic books of all time, which were done by Bill Sienkiewicz and Chris Claremont. This doesn't seem to be a direct adaptation, but it seems to kind of be within that wheelhouse. I'm assuming it's partly the New Mutants graphic novel mixed with Bill Sienkiewicz's stuff or something like that. It seems really interesting. It seems spooky. I still love Anna Taylor-Joy as Magic. I like the guy from Stranger Things that's playing Cannonball. All of it looks great to me. It is a different interpretation of the material that I've wanted there to be a movie of, or a TV show, or a something. And I'm still excited for it. I guess I should be more down on it because it is such a different version of the things that I really like, but I thought it was a really cool trailer, and I thought it really got my favorite era of New Mutants instead of, you know, the Cable, what would become X-Force New Mutants, which are usually the more popular. So I am very excited for this. I think it's going to be a cool movie. I like that they're doing a different version of it, because I think kind of doing like baby X-Men maybe would not excite people as much, but this looks like a good enough of an interesting take that I think would really work for New Mutants, and that's part of what made the Bill Sienkiewicz run so interesting, is because it was a different take on X-Men and an X-book at the time. So I think this very much plays into kind of the reputation of that run and kind of what that run represented to comic books at the time. So I think it's actually going to be pretty cool. So it seems like Gambit is actually going to happen, starring Channing Tatum. Before, I think we're all like, if you'd asked me a month ago, I'd say, oh, that I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but it seems like Gore Verbinski is close to signing on, and it actually has a release date, Valentine's Day weekend 2019, so I think it's probably going to happen. That was similar to Deadpool had an around Valentine's Day release date, so this means they have a lot of faith in it, and maybe with Gore Verbinski attached, they feel that this could really work out for them. I don't know. We'll see. I think particularly with what Fox has been doing with the X-Men movies, between Logan and Deadpool and now New Mutants, I'm at least interested. I'm still like very skeptical of this whole thing, that it's even happening, because it's been delayed so many times. But hey, Deadpool had that problem too. I was also remembered that they almost had the guy who directed The Raid to do the Gambit movie, and I still wish that happened. They should maybe go back and figure that one out, because that would be a better idea. The Black Panther trailer dropped on Monday. Somehow this improved even on a really good trailer last time. It looked really cool. We got more sort of plot details, that there's going to be like a evil Black Panther, I guess, or I don't know Black Panther that well as a character, but it still looked neat. We got a sense of Michael B. Jordan is going to be a pretty great antagonist to Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther, and a little bit with Andy Serkis and things like that. It looks really, really cool. I love Michael B. Jordan and everything I see with the weird hair and everything like that. I'm excited for it, and I really like Ryan Coogler as a director, and I'm excited to see what he could do with like a major budget. It so far doesn't look too different, but I feel like when I actually get to see the movie, I'll feel differently about it. I think he'll have a lot of fun, especially that Michael B. Jordan's in it. I love those two together. It just feels like a very awesome superhero movie, but it feels like there's still a lot of surprises left, which I notice Marvel's really good at, is giving you a trailer where you feel like generally what it's about, but you still get a lot of surprises, and I feel like there's a lot of surprises in store for this one. Also, the poster came out too, which also looks cool. So there was a trailer for a movie that will soon probably be one of the greatest films of the year, which is called Snake Outta Compton, which is about a giant snake who is in Compton, who these rappers have to defeat, and it is a real movie, and you should check it out. And one article that was interesting was 9 films that could be affected by the Weinstein scandal. One of those is Paddington 2, another is a Benedict Cumberbatch movie that looked awful, and I really wouldn't mind if it just got shelved forever. And then a Furby movie. Apparently they were developing a Furby movie. They hired writers. That's about all that went down for their animation label, which is already rebranded before this scandal, so I'm sure that will be fine. Interesting they did that before. But yes, they were trying to develop a Furby movie, so that could be in jeopardy, the Furby movie. There's going to be an Addams Family animated film, and it's going to be directed by the co-director of Sausage Party, Conrad Vernon. Of course, the Addams Family started as a comic strip in the late 30s and then became a sitcom, which is how most of us know it, and then the live action movies in the 90s and so forth. This could be good. There's no date, so maybe it won't happen, but Conrad Vernon, who helped work on Madagascar 3 and Sausage Party, and he's an interesting director, and I wouldn't mind him doing it, but it's not something that gets me excited. It's more like, oh, they're doing this? We can't just let the Addams Family go at this point, but whatever. It just doesn't seem like something anyone gives a shit about, but maybe someone will, and maybe Conrad Vernon can make you give a shit about the Addams Family. Blue Sky is an upcoming movie in 2019 that's called Spies in Disguise, and it's actually based on an indie short. It seems like a pretty big movie. Will Smith's gonna do the voice of one character, and Tom Holland's doing the voice of another character, so it seems like a pretty big animated film coming out in about 2019, January 2019, which is kind of cool that it is based on an original property and an indie short film, basically, that was made just so someone could show that they could do CG animated films. So I think that's pretty neat. I hope the person who made that short is involved. Pixels was based on an animated short that was online, so I hope Spies in Disguise is better than that, but it seems like kind of a cool movie, so I'm hoping Blue Sky can make something good this time. That would be neat. Netflix recently said they plan on making 80 movies in 2018, and apparently are going to spend more on content than pretty much any network around by quite a bit. I think it's about 8 billion or something. 80 movies in 2018. The Irishman apparently won't come out until maybe early 2019, so that might not even count with that, the Scorsese movie. Some of those will be acquisitions from Sundance and various film festivals. Some of them will be original films that Netflix, spearheaded and greenlit and all those things. We'll see where that goes. I think that's a lot of movies, but I've noticed, other than the Meyerowitz stories, which I still would like to see, a lot of these movies don't turn out to be that well liked by critics or anyone really, so I'm curious what these 80 movies are going to be, but I'd like them to turn it around. I don't think the problem right now is Netflix necessarily. I think it's just the movies they've made are not the kind of things that people are like rushing. Okja's and cool, it's neat that they made Okja, but it's not exciting anyone to get a Netflix subscription, but they need to make something that like excites you. You're like, oh shit, it's finally coming on Netflix. We'll see what happens when Bright comes out this Christmas. I think we're gonna start to see them making a better attempt, because movies seems to be the last thing that streaming has really conquered, and in particular Netflix, and I think they're really gonna be pushing forward with that throughout the next year or so. And with 80 movies exclusive to Netflix, I think that's gonna be a pretty ridiculous thing. So we're gonna see a lot of original Netflix movies in the next year. There's a trailer for Louis C.K.'s film I Love You Daddy, which looks both like it's criticizing Woody Allen and also looks like it's Louis C.K.'s version of a Woody Allen movie. I know he really likes Woody Allen. His editor for his TV show, when he still did that, was Woody Allen's editor. I'm not sure if that's like a really like conceptual idea to make a Woody Allen movie that's kind of criticizing Woody Allen, which would be kind of funny, or if he's just like super not self-aware and just obsessed with himself enough that he thought he would just make a Woody Allen movie where he was the Woody Allen surrogate. I don't know. I'm sort of 50-50 on this. It's kind of interesting, and it's in black and white and all those things, which is interesting because wasn't Manhattan the one where he dates a girl in high school, and then in this, oh man, it's so about, I mean, it's obviously about Woody Allen, but now I'm starting to think it's definitely on purpose, that whole Woody Allen thing, but definitely plays it up and plays into it a lot. It'll be interesting to see where this one goes. So the director of The Snowman, who comes out tomorrow or today or whatever, explains why his movie wasn't that good, and he said that he actually 10 to 15% of the script actually wasn't shot. It was a really quick shoot, didn't really work out for them, and when they got back and they started editing, they realized how much they didn't have shot, and that's kind of how it worked for them. So if you're going to see The Snowman, who it's Thomas Alfredson who did Let the Right One In, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which are both great movies. I was sort of hoping The Snowman would work out, but it seems like even he's like, yeah, it's not his best work apparently. So there was a La La Land Blade Runner mashup. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's kind of cool, and you should check it out. The Croods 2 has gotten a director, and it seems like it's really moving forward, coming out in 2020. The producer of Captain Underpants is involved, and yeah, it looks like before Croods 2 was canceled, now it's definitely back on and moving forward. It feels like that's something they're definitely doing, because that's a movie people still talk about, I guess. It's not the original director, which is disappointing, because the original director was one half of the Lilo and Stitch and the original How to Train Your Dragon team, but it doesn't seem like any of those people are going to be involved. I'm sure this means Croods 2 will probably be a lot worse than the original, but you know, someone would actually have to give a shit about the original to maybe say something about that. So I'm sure no one will notice, but it looks like Croods 2 is definitely happening. There's a cool article about storyboard secrets from a storyboard artist. It was on Screen Crush, where they interview a storyboard artist. So if you've ever been interested in what a storyboard artist does, or would like to be a storyboard artist or something like that, you should definitely check out that article. So I've saved the best for last, which is all the Harvey Weinstein stuff, because the scandal just is not dying at all, because there's just so much information. So Harvey Weinstein was kicked out of the Academy, or the Academy of Arts and Sciences, basically the Academy Awards or the Oscars, which is a pretty big deal since he was like Mr. Oscar in terms of studio heads. He was also kicked out of the PGA. It seems like he will be kicked out of other organizations, but other ones are just waiting for board meetings to happen. Some, the Academy actually had an emergency meeting to kick him out. It seems like everyone else is like, we'll get around to it. But it seems like he's just going to get kicked out of like everything. And I'm sure I forgot some crap he got kicked out of. One of the bigger people who came out against him was actually Quentin Tarantino, who I was kind of wondering when he was gonna like say something. He oddly said something through Amber Tamblin's Twitter, which is a weird way to release a statement, but he said he was stunned and heartbroken over learning about these things. He didn't say what like Kevin Smith is doing, who's giving his residuals from his Miramax movies henceforth to charity, which is really nice of Kevin Smith. I don't know, it just feels like you just keep learning about more and more disgusting behavior from Harvey Weinstein. It feels like this has actually been going on his entire career. Like there's someone who came out from like his first film, I think was The Burning, from like 1980. Like it just doesn't stop. Basically, it's just been going on forever. There was an interesting article from the Village Voice about Harvey Weinstein and the alternative history of Hollywood. I've noticed there's plenty of pieces saying Harvey Weinstein wasn't very good. It seems like all of them go. I mean, he was good, he let Tarantino alone, but everything else he did was terrible. Seems to be the narrative, basically, which I don't really entirely disagree with. I don't know if he was the greatest studio head, but I don't know if he was like the worst either, but I still think he's a horrible human being. And Sarah Polley wrote a piece for the New York Times basically about her experiences with Harvey Weinstein, which was interesting. A lot of actresses have done so, but I thought Sarah Polley's was probably one of the better ones, so I picked hers. I know Molly Ringwald wrote something, but I preferred Sarah Polley's basically. But it just continues, you know, Harvey Weinstein being a total piece of human garbage, and I imagine there'll be more to this scandal as it goes on. It'll be interesting to read a real history of Miramax and the Weinstein Company, and how much Disney knew, and how much that had to do with them being kicked out of Disney and things like that. So that was Movie Crap, kind of a programming note that will not be a Movie Crap next week, but we will be back in 2 weeks, so there'll be other videos and so forth. It's partly because the Halloween week of videos will be starting next Thursday, so I'll see you with the next Movie Crap then. And if you'd like to see any of the Halloween week of videos, they will actually be coming out early on Patreon and then coming out on their normal times that you're all used to, the 5 days leading up to Halloween. Starting, I believe, around the 27th at midnight. It's the 5 days leading up to Halloween. I review 5 different horror movies, usually from 5 different decades. So it'll be, that's always something I have fun with. And I think this is a good lineup this year. I'm not going to tell you what they are. Unless you go to the Patreon and you can see them early, then you can find out. Since the last Movie Crap, I've done the following videos: a review of Happy Death Day, a review of Good Night Nurse, which is a Fatty Arbuckle short part of my Buster Keaton series, the winner of the movie review vote, which was Starship Troopers, and I did a new episode of Deep Focus about Pauline Kael, what she thought about criticism, and which I think is really cool, and is a project I worked really hard on and am very proud of. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you all for being as supportive and awesome of an audience as you have been. I hope you like the content that's been coming out, and I hope you like the content that happens between this Movie Crap and the next Movie Crap. Hope you have a happy Halloween, since I won't get to say it in another Movie Crap. I'll say it a bunch of times in those, but I don't know why I felt the need to. Anyway, have a happy rest of your October. I hope to see you back here in 2 weeks, and in general, the other videos too. That would be cool. But yeah, so thank you all very much for watching. Comment below in the comments if you'd like to talk about any of the movie stories or anything I talked about within this video, and subscribe if you would like to.